What is the difference between health span and lifespan? Lifespan is the number of years of a person's life from birth to death, whereas health span is the number of years of a person's life where the person is living in good health without chronic diseases. So we all agree on that we all want to increase our lifespan, to live longer. But what does living longer mean? Like, longer than what? We have to compare it to something, right? Well, that something is the average life expectancy. And that is calculated based on the population, race, and sex. We also want to increase our health span, the number of years lived in good health without chronic diseases or disabilities. But how can we measure health? It's a bit tricky, so I'm gonna come back to that later in this video. Let me give you examples of these two terms. Let's take a look at this graph. So here we have a graph showing the lifespan on x-axis where we see the age from 0 to 100. And then we have a health span on the y-axis showing the percentage of life quality. This presents 100% quality of life and this presents 50%. Let's imagine two different people. Person A in blue color and person B in purple color. Let's say the person A dies at age 60. And already by age 30, the person's health span starts slowly to decline and continues gradually doing that. And by age 50, the person's health span has reduced to 50%. That is very, very poor quality of life. So it means the last 10 years of this person's life is spent miserable, maybe in pain or not able to perform any normal daily activities. Then we have person B shown in purple color. This person lives to age 90 and person's health starts declining from age 70. But only when the person reaches 90, then the health span reduction reaches 50%. So maybe around maximum 1 month, 1 week, or even days are spent in this such poor health span. So do you see the difference between these two people? There are two main points I want to make here. When it comes to the lifespan, person A dies at age 60, whereas person B dies at age 90. Let's say, for example, that these people live in the US, where the average life expectancy for women is 79 and 74 for men. Then if we take a look at the person A who dies at age 60, well, it means the person has decreased lifespan, whereas person B who dies at age 90 has increased lifespan. So we want to minimally live longer than the average life expectancy of the population we live in and the race and the sex, as I mentioned before. But this is the average. Of course, we want to live way longer than that, so that's what we have to aim for. But it's not all about living longer, and that takes me to the next point I want to emphasize here, which is the health span. You see, person A lives a decade in poor quality of life, whereas person B spends very little time with a low quality of life. So person A spent a decade in poor health. When the person's health span reduced dramatically to the time of death, well, this gap we call for healthspan-lifespan gap. And we want to reduce that as much as possible because this gap is where we are spending our time in poor quality of life. And we can reduce this health span lifespan gap by extending our health span as much as possible. So what is more important, health span or lifespan? Well, both are important because we don't want to have high quality of life but die young. And on the other side, we don't want to live very long but have a miserable life. In a perfect world, we would want this graph to look linear, both horizontally and vertically, which means that we would want to live all our life in high quality, both mentally and physically. So 100% health span, and suddenly die at very, very old age. The next question is, what is the current health span and lifespan? So while lifespan is very easy to calculate, as it's just the numbers of the person's life, we can look at the population and take the average lifespan and then get average life expectancy. But health span, on the other hand, is hard to measure because it's the time where the person is healthy. But what does healthy mean? It means different things to different people. So how can we measure it? To approximate health span for a population, the World Health Organization uses a term that is called Healthy Adjusted Life Expectancy, HALE for short. This estimates the number of years a person can expect to live in good health. The calculations are complex, but to simplify it, they take the life expectancy and then they minus the years lived with disabilities and the severity of those disabilities. It's based on approximately 360 conditions, both mentally and physically. So I was very curious to figure out what is our health span lifespan gap. So I checked World Health Organization, and according to them, the life expectancy in 2019 globally for females and males was 73.3, while the health adjusted life expectancy was 63.7. This means that we had 9.6 years in health span lifespan gap, almost a decade with poor health. So while our current healthcare system is very good at giving us some treatments to extend our life, it doesn't always succeed in give us higher quality of life or preventing the chronic diseases in the first place. According to the data on healthcare costs and expenses, Europe spends 3% of their healthcare costs on prevention, while 70 to 80% of their healthcare expenses are spent on chronic diseases. It just doesn't make sense. That's why we must take control of our own health. As individuals, we have to take actions ourselves to prevent chronic diseases and prevent the decline of our health span. It simply doesn't happen by itself, and we cannot wait until we get a diagnosis. We cannot wait until the healthcare comes into the picture. We have to take care of our health ourselves very early, and it's not just one supplement or one type of exercise or one type of diet that will help us later. No, it's a combination of different habits. Like, we have to take care of the fundamentals, the sleep, exercise, nutrition, and mental health. All these things come into the picture. So for that, we need plans for that. So like, as you train for a marathon, you plan to be prepared for that. And we have to think about health in the same way because we are slowly aging. So to prevent the decline of our health, well, we have to start doing something now, today, and before the pains have arrived, before the diagnosis. We shouldn't wait till we experience health problems before we take our health seriously, because maybe the treatment we get might never be able to make us return back to the quality of life before that we had the health problem in the first place. So prevention, prevention, prevention. If you enjoyed this video, give it a like and comment down below if you have any thoughts on this topic or if you have any other questions. On this channel, I share my life as a doctor and how I maintain healthy lifestyle. And sometimes if I have extra time, I make more in-depth videos about health-related topics. And yeah, so if you like something like that, then subscribe to the channel. And also I have a newsletter where I send anything related to how we can increase our health span and lifespan. I share mainly like the resources I found throughout the weeks. So yeah, I'll put the link below. It's called Healthspan Journey. So yeah, take care of yourself. Until next time. See you.